Yeah, it works.
Is this poison? What is this?
Poison.
Did you bring this?
Welcome, everyone. I think we're almost on. Well, this evening we'd like to welcome you now, it's on, to the Board of Commissioners meeting for Washington County this December 3rd, 2024. Welcome, everyone. We have a busy agenda tonight and would like to begin, however, before that, with the important things. An invocation by Larry Shurtleff of the St. George Regional Communications Council of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and appreciate him coming, following which we'll have Paisley Hall of the Junior ROTC come up and give us our pledge. Elder.
We have to be here. We're grateful for the good men and women that are serving in the capacities that they are serving. We're grateful for their compassion to those around them, and we'd ask that would bless them with understanding to be able to understand all those in the county, that they might be able to feel that they do the best for each one of them. We're grateful at this time for where we live especially, and we realize that we are truly blessed to live here. Bless us that we might be able to not only help those around us, but help those in the world, as there is trouble all in the world. Help us that we might be able to align our thoughts with Thee, and we might be able to become more like Thee and become more compassionate to everyone. And we're grateful for the beauty of this day, and we're grateful for the beauty of this season. And as we pause to reflect on this Christmas season that is now upon us, help us that we might be able to all lend a hand to those that need help. We realize that there are many, even in our midst, that need help, and help us that we might find them and help them wherever we can. These things we pray and ask for, and ask a blessing upon each member of this committee, that they might be watched over and protected, and have Thy Spirit to be with them. And we're grateful for each one of them and all they do. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Paisley?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and for your early service to the country and the county. Thank you so much. Our first item is the consent agenda, which is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than a request to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt our consent agenda consisting of the following items. A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payments for November 20th, 2024 through December 3rd, 2024. B, consideration of commission meeting minutes of November 19th, 2024. C, consideration of administrative adjustments personal property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments real property. E, consideration of applications for property tax abatement. F, acknowledgement of adoption of ordinance 2024-1276-0 and 2024-1277-0 and 2024-1278-0, published on Sunday, November 24th, 2024. And G, consideration of amendment 2 to the EOC Legacy Park Storage Facility Agreement with WMR Design, and that's the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, MRW. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Our regular agenda items start off with a bang. With Zach Renstrom showing us, Victor, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Well, a few years ago, Zach was a county commissioner here in Washington County, and he's now the general manager of the Washington County Water Conservancy District. He was recently recognized as one of the State Pioneer Award. He received the State Pioneer Award. And this is for the great work that Zach has been doing as far as through water conservation, through the 20-year plan that he has just published. And of course, we live in one of the driest states in the union and the driest county in that state. And water is a precious resource. And Zach does a really good job at finding balance and helping develop the water necessary and come up with the plans. And besides that, he's just a heck of a great guy. I'd like to, give his experience as a county commissioner, credit for what has made him such a good general manager for Washington County Water Conservancy District. But he's one of those guys that are working behind the scenes. And if he wasn't doing his job, you would know really quick. My water went out in my house in Laverkin for about 5 minutes, and I heard about it. And we were sweating until it came on about 30 minutes later. So like Ron Thompson used to say, you can have a lot of problems, but if you don't have water, you only have one problem. So
Victor, would you say he's amazing, he's the best?
I would say he's incredible. He's done huge things here in Washington County. It's been a beautiful thing to see him.
We'll tease Victor about that.
We're trying to channel our inner Donald Trump to pay him good acknowledgement.
Well, we have a presentation, looks like.
Yeah, I just, you got the video.
Beautiful.
Zach Renstrom has done a remarkable job ensuring current and future generations' water supply in Washington County. One of the things I appreciate about him most is the way that he unifies and allows the municipal partners to collaborate with the district in tackling these challenges. Now, as you know, the southern part of the state is the hottest and driest and one of the most fastest growing areas of the state. So water challenges here are very unique. We're seeing a transformation of the community, not only in what the landscape looks like, we're taking it back to more of a native desert landscape, but we're also seeing a transformation in the mindset and the attitudes towards water. And this shift is just monumental, and it certainly wouldn't have happened without Zach Renstrom and his ability to lead out and help guide.
One of the great things that Zach is doing is water reuse. I'm here today at the St. George Water Treatment Facility. It's one of 2 major facilities in the county. And the key for our ability to grow and to continue this way of life is reuse, in addition to conservation and other things. It takes a lot of work to be able to provide the things that most of us just take for granted. Zach is a forward-thinking, very proactive, solutions-oriented person that says, look, I know that I've got to provide this resource, the most critical resource of anything that we could provide for future generations, for work, for business, for visitors, for our economy.
The Colorado River is a finite and dwindling supply on which about 1/3 of Utahns rely, including Washington County. Under Zach's leadership, Washington County has arguably done more to conserve water and invest in new supply than any other region in our state.
Zach, through his leadership in the Washington County Water Conservancy District, has really provided the pathway forward for all of Utah. What's being done in Washington County really does affect the rest of the state. Washington County is connected to the Colorado River system, and that affects the Central Utah Water Conservancy District. The Central Utah Water Conservancy District is connected to Great Salt Lake, and so what goes on in Washington County truly does affect us here in northern Utah, and affects how we're deciding on how to use water here in the Great Salt Lake Basin. It really is a pleasure to celebrate Zach's accomplishments. He has a really hard job, and he's had a really hard job at a really difficult time where we've had years of drought, huge population growth in Washington County, and Zach's figured out a way to make sure that he gets the water to where it needs to be, and that's been pretty cool to see.
Thanks.
I do think that clearly Zach was the star of that, but there was a second star,
The trees.
right about in the middle.
Yeah. Well, Zach, thank you. Thank you on behalf of all the citizens of Washington County. I happen to be able to see your planning and your hard work, and I'm glad the state of Utah acknowledged you as well. This was an award that was given by the Speaker and the President of the Senate, as well as by DWR, and recognizing you, and it was an award well deserved. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's quite an honor.
I would echo that as well and just say, for many people in government and for Zach as well, if you're doing your job right, nobody cares, right? Nobody knows, nobody thinks about it. They went to turn on the shower, water came out, they went to get water out of the faucet, it was there, and they didn't really think about how it got there. It takes an enormous amount of work that very few people have any clue on. And so most of the time, Zach's job is thankless for the 99.9% of the public who don't think about it. For those of us who do, we're very, very grateful. But when other plans that had been in the works for years suddenly came to a screeching halt, Zach, more than probably anybody else I can think of in this county and maybe in the entire Western United States, was able to pivot, assemble a team to help him pivot and to do this, because he can't do it alone, but to do a completely new plan of reuse and conservation and secondary storage and everything that goes into this 20-year plan, and pretty quickly. It wasn't like, we've got 5 more years to try and develop this. It was, we need to pivot, and we need to pivot very quickly because we're going to get by the skin of our teeth, and there's not a lot of skin left. And just absolute kudos to Zach.
Thanks.
and appreciation for his hard work that will really go unrecognized by most people. So this award is deserved for the few times he does get recognition for his pioneering efforts.
One last comment. A lot of people know that I love our history here in Washington County, and really Washington County was founded when we finally were able to secure a dam, and a diversion dam at the Washington County, or the Washington Fields Diversion Dam was really what allowed us to open up the agricultural land that we needed to sustain our community. And then I come from the eastern side of the county where it took an enormous amount of work to carve canals onto the canyon walls. But Zach, I think you're every bit the pioneer that they were, which is why this award is appropriately named, because I believe that water is an intergenerational infrastructure. So yeah, we can build roads and eventually they're going to wear out and we're going to have to pave them again. But water is something that the development of water will bless the lives of people for generations in this county. So you really are, and you know how I hold pioneers up. You're one of the pioneer heroes of this county. You really are. So.
Well, thank you. It's a great honor. And I appreciate the very kind words. Victor was a commissioner before I was, and my first role in government was, Victor kind of mentored me in a lot of ways, saying,
I had 6 months.
But I came from the private sector, and the private sector is much different than the public sector, and and so that was very appreciative. And so I appreciate all the work that you do, because the same thing, Mr. Snow, you guys do a lot of work that nobody knows. People don't show up here to this meeting and tell you that you guys are doing a great job. It's usually the opposite. And the same thing when taps go dry, I hear about that very quickly. But I've never received a phone call from anybody that said, hey, today I turned my shower on at work. So I get that. The thing about this is I feel like I'm standing on shoulders of giants. I mean, if you look at the history of Washington County, our county has gone through this so many times where water was the number one issue. One thing that I'm finding a lot of joy in is reading old historical records of Washington County like 120 years ago. And it's interesting how they were talking about how they ran out of water back then and what they would do. And when I took over this job, Ron Thompson came to me and he said, this is one bit of advice I want you to know, Zach. He says, every single generation for the last 150 years has made it possible for the next generation to have water. So you have 150 years of people doing this, and so don't stop that or don't break that chain. Whatever you do today is not for you, it's for your children. And so I take that very serious, and it's neat to be recognized for what we're doing down here. And when I met with the speaker and the president, we were in a group with several people. It was a big meeting, and the speaker's like, he was getting frustrated. And he finally was like, listen, I'm tired of this. You just need to do what they're doing in Washington County. And he didn't want to get into the details or anything like that. He just knows that what we're doing down here is what is supposed to be done. So it was neat. So thank you very much.
And Zach, your diplomacy has also brought municipalities together. Granted, most of them all work with you, but it was not without some gentle
Oh, yeah.
work, and yet at the same time being direct. We have to do this. And I know you've said many times that the citizens also have responded by listening and doing the things that you've asked them to do, which has dropped our water use considerably. This was a hot summer.
Mm-hmm.
We still have data to come in that shows just how that might have affected us. But everyone needs to know that your biggest battle, though, is ahead.
Yeah.
You've accomplished a lot, but you have both, Warner Valley is still a major milestone that you'll accomplish. But the other one is you're going to experience the 100th year of the Colorado Compact, which will, as Will Rogers said, out west, whiskey is for drinking, water is for fighting. And so there's going to be some issues there that we appreciate your leadership. Together with your team, everyone has a team, and you also recognize them and your board. So thank you. With that, do we all want to stand on our heads and applaud again or something?
Well, thank you.
Come down.
Get a picture. Thank you. Zach? Many of the things that we do in the county at the beginning of this meeting is recognize those who served with the county for many years. In particular, we have two tonight. Judge Ron Reed, who has served here for 10 years, and it seems like you and I have known each other for 20 plus, because you were also at the St. George City when we were together on Planning Commission. He works with Solote, who's our director of our Justice Court, and the department head. If Solote wants to read this 10 pages, single-typed, single-spaced.
Well, if there's one thing you know about Judge Reed is he's a humble guy. He doesn't like attention, so I'm sure you're very uncomfortable, but that's okay though, because he deserves it. So just a little bit about Judge Reed. I can just tell you that Judge Reed is a very easy person to work with. He has an awesome laugh. You can hear it in when he has a laugh, everyone just kind of chuckles. It's kind of contagious. He attended, it's SUU now, but what was the name of the university when you attended it? Southern Utah State. And then, I won't hold this against you two, but yeah, he graduated from University of Utah Law School. That's okay. And he played quarterback. Where did you play quarterback?
Here at Dixie College.
So, I'm also, football player. I like that. Anyway, one thing that I've noticed about Judge Reed is very fair. He has a lot of empathy for the people that come to court, and he administrates justice very well.
That comes from a family that gets in trouble.
But he understands that any of us can find us on the other side of the fence. So he, 10 years, started September of 2014. And so anyway, we really appreciate it. He works really hard. He has a very high caseload that he manages every day. Him and Judge Whitlock work really well together. He is just a really easy person to get along with, and I really appreciate all that he does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, you want to say something?
Just shortly, I appreciate working for the county and for Solote and the crew that she's been able to establish. It's pretty easy when you got a crew like that around you. So thanks for everything. It's, like Zach said, it's so much different than private practice, but I'd never go back. I should have done this 20 years ago. You'll see me for a few more years.
Well,
All right,
we
we're
want to
gonna
come
come
down
get
and
a
take a
picture.
picture. I will say that one of the first things I did as a county commissioner was finish the interview process up on. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I was almost hoping you'd come over and you wrote.
You know what?
Yes.
Our officer really good, so that usually by the time we get to my stage, they're guilty. So we do get in a fair chance and have a lot of crowds that go and, you know, if they prepare from the song, they can come up with the song. You put your in the song and you can see.
Ready to go, Larry? And not to be outdone, by 10 years, Krista Phelps has been with us for 20. So please, Alan and Joel would love to say something about you.
Krista, I have it down and you're going to give us a 10-minute speech.
Right, yes.
I think I prepared the 10-minute speech. No, we're grateful to have Krista as part of the staff. She's been with the library, as you mentioned, for 20 years. She's worked in multiple areas of the library. Right now, she's a cataloger, which, like some of our accountants here, that's where the rubber hits the road in the library. That's where the work really gets done. That's where the stuff is, where patrons can see it and, you know, type in and find it. And so we appreciate her, and she's just a great employee. She's worked in the circulation area, and she's worked at the reference desk. She did fines and fees for a while. She's such a sweet person. It's hard to see her in that role, but she can hold the line when she needs to. So we're grateful for Krista Phelps.
Now, Krista, did you work mostly, which branches? Have you mostly worked in St. George?
Just
No.
St. George.
Just St. George, okay.
Well, wonderful. Well, that deserves applause.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll come down and get a picture with you. Well, that's fun to recognize. We have a search and rescue report, and rather than go through every single word, if you give us the highlights, that would be great.
Good afternoon.
Stephen, how are you doing?
Sheriff's Office.
Thank you so much.
So the report I'm going to be giving you is from October 15th to December 1st. Kind of just lumped everything together there. So from October to November, we had a total of 16 calls, 421.5 man hours. So far in 2024, we've had 106 search and rescues. Out of those, we've had 4 county residents. We've had 13 out of county, but in Utah residents. 16 and out of Utah, and then we've not had any international yet. So to simplify this one, on October 17th of this 24, around 11 a.m., we had a side-by-side rollover on Sand Mountain, roughly 30 man hours on that one. We responded to an ATV rollover. Female suffered injuries as a result of the rollover. We had search and rescue members respond. They were able to load her into the Life Flight helicopter where, she was transported. On the same day, at roughly 2:50 in the afternoon, we had some stranded hikers in the Narrows up in Zion National Park. They requested our assistance, so we responded up there to help out the park. We had, 70 man hours on that one. There were 4 adults and 3 minors stuck in the Narrows. We requested UHP's helicopter due to the location. It's just easier to fly them sometimes. And they were able to bring all 7 individuals out and back down to incident command without any injuries. On October 19th, around about 11 in the morning, we had a injured mountain biker at the Red Bull Rampage site. And we had about 16 and a half man hours total into that one. So search and rescue responded to a male who had crashed on a mountain bike with a suspected head injury. We were, due to the location of it and where he was at on the side of the mountain, because I don't know if you've watched some of those videos, the stuff they come down, you know, they crash into a ravine. It's a big deal to get them out. So luckily we were able to had SAR personnel team up with Hurricane Medical, and they were able to get the person onto a Stokes basket and ended up carrying them out to a Jeep where they transported them to the Life Flight helicopter, where that individual was flown to the hospital from there. So on October 19th, about 6:20 in the afternoon, there was a side-by-side rollover on Sand Mountain, total of 14 man hours on that one. Search and rescue responded to the report of a rollover. Search and rescue transported 4 patients back into command. 2 of them were transported to the hospital, and the other 2 declined transport. So October 22nd, about 8:20 in the evening, there was 16 and a half man hours on that one. Search and rescue responded to the report of a boat that had, I guess, run aground on the jumping rocks. They were able to get out and get the individuals off the boat and able to use bags to lift the boat up to get it stable to where they could bring it back to the dock.
Did somebody just run into the rocks?
Yeah, I wasn't on that one, but it sounds like they weren't paying attention to where they were at and just ran into the rock. Because it's down a little bit, and they might have been in an area they weren't supposed to be. I'm not 100% sure, but that happens from time to time. All right, on October 26th, about 7 in the afternoon, or in the evening, sorry, a stranded motorist in the Beaver Dam Wash area. That one had about 20 man hours into it. So search and rescue responded out to this individual. He was an elderly male that was diabetic. He left and he didn't take any supplies with him, and he got stuck. And search and rescue was able to drive out and get him out up where he was at and bring him back, gave him water and everything. That one was interesting because it started out earlier in the day, but they failed to tell us that he was diabetic and he was without, rations at that point. We probably would have got it done a lot sooner, but we, of course, didn't have all the information until it was late. So on October 26th, around, would this be 10:08, we had some overdue hikers in the subway in Zion National Park. About 56 man hours into it. So search and rescue responded to assist Zion Park with this one as well. UHP's helicopter was able to fly in as well and located the hikers. And at that time they weren't able to get them, but we had a good idea where they were. So the search and rescue hiked in and with help from Zion and were able to get them out as well. Let's see, I think there was 7 on that one. On October 28th, around 4 in the afternoon, there was a stranded boater at Upper Sand Cove Reservoir. Search and rescue's page on that one had about 5 man hours into it. So deputies responded to the report of a male who was stuck on a boat in Upper Sand Cove due to the high winds. The wind had blown him to the opposite side and he was unable to get out of there. So they were able to go get out there and get him and bring him back to shore. So on November 10th, about 5 in the afternoon, 5:30, injured mountain biker on the Red Bull Rampage site. So we had about 36 man hours into this one. So search and rescue responded to the site of the Red Bull Rampage. Patient had suffered significant injuries from a bike accident. So several, I believe this was the one I was on. So we contacted Life Flight, they were unavailable. They called, I believe Mercy out of Mesquite, they were unavailable. So then we contacted Classic and they were available, but they were in Richville. So at that point they were kind of out of the area to help us with anything. So we were able to get a hold of UHP's helicopter and they flew into the area and we were able to get him in a Stokes basket to where they could lift him up with the helicopter However, as they were coming, his medical condition was getting worse as time went on, so we ended up posting another ambulance in an area that they could respond and get out quicker, and we flew that individual to that ambulance where they were able to transport him. So, worked out well with working with medical on that one. We didn't call search and rescue on it due to the, how quick we needed to be out of there, so. On November 13th, approximately 5 in the afternoon, a stranded hiker in the Padre Canyon area of Snow Canyon. We had about 8 man-hours into that one. 18. So search and rescue responder report of a stranded female hiker near Padre Canyon in Snow Canyon State Park. SAR personnel located the hiker and utilized ropes to lower her to a safe spot. She was then escorted back to incident command. On November 14th, approximately 6 in the afternoon, there was a lost hiker on the Butterfly Trail in Snow Canyon. Deputies responded to report of 2 lost female hikers in the Snow Canyon. They located the lost hikers on a gravel road and provided them a ride back to their vehicle. I remember that when I did it. All right. On November 16th, about 3 in the afternoon, injured hiker in the Petrified Dunes area of Snow Canyon. About 34 man-hours on this one. As search and rescue responded to the report of a female who had an ankle injury at the Petrified Dunes in Snow Canyon. SAR with the conjunction of Santa Clara Ivans responded out to the female. She was evaluated and carried back to the road in a litter basket. She was then loaded in the ambulance and transported to the hospital. Let's see. Injured mountain biker on Gooseberry Mesa. About 10 man-hours on this one. This was on November 17th. About 10 in the evening. So search and rescue responded to Gooseberry Mesa on a report of a female who crashed on her mountain bike. The female had a suspected head injury, so life flight was requested due to her injuries. Search and rescue responded and located the female and were able to get her into the life flight helicopter for transport. So we had lost hikers on the Red Reef Trail in Snow Canyon. It's also in the Desert Reserve, Red Cliffs Desert Reserve, so just right over by Red Cliffs. That would have been on November 22nd, approximately, 6 in the afternoon. Search and rescue responded to the Red Reef Trail, reported 2 lost hikers. SAR members hiked in, located them, and just helped them out. Almost done, though. All right, so on November 23rd, about 5 in the afternoon, male suffered a heart attack on the Red Mountain Trail, about 30 hours into it, with search and rescue members. So search and rescue responded to report of a male having a heart attack in the area of Red Mountain Trail. The male was located by SAR and treated, and Life Flight responded due to the location, was able to get to him and Life Flight him out. So now on November 25th, at about 5 in the afternoon, a side-by-side rollover at Sand Mountain, about 19 and a half hours is what search and rescue had into it. So search and rescue responded to a report of a side-by-side rollover on Sand Mountain involving a female patient with a suspected arm injury. IC was established at the water tanks, and SAR with Hurricane Medical responded to the patient. She was evaluated and then stabilized and transported back to the awaiting ambulance. You guys have any questions on any of the incidents we had, or?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot of man-hours.
Yeah.
Is there anything that happened over Napa Valley on the 30th? I thought I heard a helicopter flying around over there, and I was wondering.
Not that I can think of. I know UHP's been doing a lot of training. The other night I came out of a meeting and they were out by Quail doing lifts and training off of that ridge. So
That's probably.
it could have been something related to that. So
Thank you for everything you do.
no problem.
Yes, thank you.
Daryl is doing well. He's been coming in and doing like light duty stuff, coming in, taking care of paperwork, and he's been trying to get the whole Christmas party and everything set up. And so he's still the same old Daryl.
So give him our best.
I will, definitely.
Thank you so much.
And all your volunteers, thank you.
Oh, yes.
Appreciate it.
Our next item on the agenda are the purchase requests. Ray.
Okay, the first one is for the sheriff's office. This is for a 2024 Ford F-150. This is for a newly created position for a court support services tracker, which is going to be under the sheriff's office now. This is for $51,405. And it's grant funded. Sorry, I almost forgot that part. The next one is for the roads department. This is for road base for the Pinto Road project. The $250,000 resolution we did was exhausted, so this is the remainder amount. This is for $40,487.12. And the final one is, this is for the county in general. It's no specific department, but it is for a new video network recorder for the new administration building. Right now, there's currently smaller cameras and recorders throughout the building, and those are going to be moved and used elsewhere. And then this newer, bigger unit will cover the building and this will be $18,051.60. And that covers all parts and labor and everything else.
Mr. Chairman, I think since that's the shortest list Ray has ever presented in the 3 years I've been elected, that's great. Let's keep that up. Let's not spend, not that these are all for Ray here. I move that we approve the purchase request as presented by Ray.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Item 5, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3399, a resolution authorizing the Washington County Library System to adopt and implement changes to its fee schedule. Alan.
Hello, thank you. So we have just a few changes on the fees. This mainly relates to our inflationary environment, and we've discovered that we are the lowest price in town, subsidized by the government. So as we've had people come in, one fellow a couple weeks ago came in and wanted to make 2,100 and something copies, and because we were quite a bit cheaper. So we're proposing that we come in line with the market. We're not wanting to undercut business nor subsidize through government funds the normal transactions that occur daily. So our copy machine fees would raise to 15 cents from 10 cents, which will put us in the range. We're not lower, we're not high at that point, we're just in the range of where they are. We would like to maintain a fairly affordable base for the copies, particularly for some of our small branches like New Harmony, which people there to get a copy machine either have to go to Cedar City or Hurricane or St. George, somewhere like that. So some of our small branches, Hurricane is close, but we've got Springdale and Hilldale that are both on the outside there, and then Enterprise and New Harmony. So we are trying to stay within a fairly static range. But that would increase the double-sided copy to 30 cents, so it's per side. Then on the larger size paper, the 11 by 17, I would be changing the price there and the cost of the color copies as well. The impacts to us are the additional cost for paper, which has gone up. Also, we have maintenance fees that we pay to Dex Imaging per copy as well. And then we changed the cost of the lamination. That also is an adjustment based on the cost of the material that we're paying for. And the last two changes on that are in the makerspace for pieces of wood and pieces of plexiglass. So we propose that we make these actually fairly moderate changes. The last time we made a change, I think, was 2 years ago. So
yeah, prices have gone up.
Okay.
Alan, you do a good job. I appreciate you. And Mr. Chairman, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3399, a resolution authorizing the Washington County Library System to adopt and implement changes to its fee schedule.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes. Our next item, also for you, Alan, is consideration of resolution number R 2024-3400, a resolution approving an amendment to the intergovernmental cooperation agreement between Washington County, Utah, and Mojave County Library District regarding the Hilldale Library patronage.
So on this item, when we opened the Hilldale location, we have quite a few people that are out in the Mojave County area that were receiving bookmobile service from Mojave County. It was expensive for them to send a bookmobile out well, they have to go around the Grand Canyon, right? So somehow they have to get out there. So they actually, and it's been advantageous for both of us. I think that we have residents out there in the Arizona side that we get compensation for. They're able to use the library. It's advantageous for Mojave County to do that as well, so that they can reduce the cost on their side. We capture some of that through this. This is just an extension of the agreement to extend that for another 5 years.
You know how many people are using it from Mojave County?
I did look at the numbers, and we have, it's a decent amount of people. I did looked by city, so we do have use there. I don't know that it pushes us one way or the other in terms of use. It does, I think, our smallest location in terms of circulation size is New Harmony. It puts this in line with the Enterprise area. So Springdale and New Harmony are our smallest of the small branches, and then Enterprise and Hilldale are kind of in that same range. So it puts us on about the same order we are with Enterprise. We don't have anything with Iron County, but we have allowed the people in Burl, as long as they have children in the Enterprise school, to get a card as well, but there's no formal agreement there, so.
Oh, we like Arizona better than Iron County?
Yeah,
Well,
we should.
Not so much. I mean, that's not the case. It's just that we actually did approach Iron County, probably 10 years ago and asked them if we could do an agreement with them, and they weren't interested. So it's not that we don't like them. And it's not that they don't like us, it's just that it didn't work out.
It's Iron County. They've always it was always the
Freeloaders. Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2024-3400, a resolution approving an amendment to the interlocal cooperation agreement between Washington County and Mojave County Library District regarding Hilldale Library patronage.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second on item number 6. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Passes.
Thanks,
Thank
Alan.
you.
Appreciate you.
Our next item, consideration of resolution number R-2024-3401, a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Utah Department of Wildlife Resources for aerial herbicide treatments. Cameron.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. So for this project, this is something that we've been doing for the last couple of years. We've been cooperating with Utah Division of Wildlife Resources to enhance the habitat management in the reserve, and mostly just to kind of reduce the threat of wildfire, and when we do get wildfire, to mitigate some of those effects by reducing the spread to the interior of the reserve. And so the funds that we're requesting for this interlocal agreement, they're all covered under our annual HCP budget. We have more than sufficient funds for this. It's $25,000 for this agreement. We're going to be using 2 different herbicide treatments focused on linear fuel breaks, like I said, to stop the spread of fire. But we're also going to spot check some areas where we've had a proliferation of Sahara mustard. It's a new invasive species, and we want to kind of keep that at bay as long as we can. So that's the 2 primary goals of this project.
Okay.
Any questions?
No. I was there at the where this was presented to the HCAC, and it's actually a pretty decent amount of, this is the one that we just talked about on last Tuesday, right?
Correct.
It's a decent amount of area being covered, so.
Nice.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R-2024-3401, approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between Washington County, Utah and the Utah Department of Natural Resources for the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve State Land Rejuva and herbicide treatment to mitigate wildfire fuels in the reserve.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Cameron. Also you for the next one. Item 8, consideration of resolution number R-2024-3402, a resolution of support for the Red Cliffs/Warner Valley Land Exchange.
So as you guys well know, this is an exchange that we've been working on for probably the better part of 5 years. It's been a really important project for the county, namely for 2 reasons. One is that it will help reduce the number of private privately held acres in the reserve, and we'll put them into federal ownership so that they're permanently protected in the reserve. It's approximately 89 acres that would come out of the reserve, or it stays in the reserve, but it's not privately held any longer in the reserve. And then it would allow the Water Conservancy District to gain access to lands that they would like for potential future water infrastructure in the county. So the current project is just to do the land swap. The water project will be secondary after the fact. And so we're finally at the point where BLM is looking at this and considering it, and we think a letter of support would help put them across the finish line.
That'd be nice.
So,
Thank you.
Very good, very important.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3402, a resolution of support for the Red Cliffs Warner Valley Land Exchange.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, that's
thank you.
quite a good
Cameron.
move. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Our next
Good-
item,
good
9,
thing.
consideration of resolution number R 2024-3403, a resolution approving a contract for the construction of the Emergency Operations and Legacy Park Storage Facility. Nicole?
Commissioners, thank you.
Hey, before Nicole starts, I
There
think we
we
need
go.
to bring up that Nicole has celebrated her 10 years with the county, and I think that's pretty incredible.
I think it's phenomenal, and I really think we should bring Nicole up with a silver envelope, but Nicole doesn't like the spotlight.
Yeah.
And so I think we should take as long as humanly possible right now to highlight Nicole.
Yeah, one of the best hires I ever made at the county. Yes.
Well done.
I'm
That-
going to take all the credit for her hard work and just say she's done a great job.
You should. Nicole is a phenomenal asset that, again, as we've said, much like Zach, most people have no idea how much she works. She's often the first person here and the last person to leave, including weekends sometimes. Imagine running a company with, 23 different divisions, and she's got to know everything about all of them all the time. And it keeps us organized, as well as all of her administrative duties, and project manager over just a few construction projects we've had in the last few years. So Nicole is awesome. We haven't burned her out too much in the last 10 years. And I don't care that she didn't want to be spotlighted, because we love Nicole and she does a great job and she should be spotlighted.
Well, and on this item that we're going to talk about right now, it kind of highlights her role as a project manager, saving the taxpayers of Washington County millions of dollars and getting great projects done. So anyway, Nicole, we'll turn the time over to you.
Well, thank you, Commissioners. Nothing more than what I love is my job and working with the three of you. So, and Devin, he keeps me really in line. So anyways, just really appreciate the opportunity that I've been given to be the project manager for Washington County and also the county administrator over these last 8+ years. It's 10 years total, but not as a project manager. Anyways, okay, so back to the agenda. So as you're aware, there were 4 contractors that submitted a proposal to construct the new EOC and Legacy Park storage facility. The top 3, Warner Construction, Bud Mahas, and Watts Construction, were then invited to provide a bid. The lowest 2 bidders, being Bud Mahas and Watts Construction, were then asked to submit their proposed schedule of values and subcontractors within 24 hours. So the architect and I then did our due diligence by calling the contractor with the lowest bid, which was Watts Construction at $3,454,620, almost 10% lower than the next bid at $3,799,000. So we combed through the subcontractor list with Watts and the schedule of values, and through that conversation, we recognized that the electrical sub had a tier 2 sub, so a sub under a sub, for the low voltage portion of the project. I specifically was not familiar with the sub, and low voltage can be tricky, and was also an addendum within the proposal that we sent and the invitation to bid. So we asked the contractor to follow up with the sub and the tier 2 sub to ensure that they had an accurate bid according to the addendum that we provided. The contractor said that they had 2 tier subs submit on the project for the low voltage, so I just wanted to make sure that I was upfront with that, and that they took the lowest bid, but would verify both bids just in case because there was a $31,290 difference between the two Tier 2 subs. I hope that you're following along with my
Yep.
story here. But I think it is important for the citizens to be aware and for you as you make the decision. The contractor got back to us and let us know that the Tier 2 sub originally picked had not bid it correctly. Based on that information, I felt it was in the county's best interest to pick the low voltage sub that did bid it correctly initially. This will increase Watts Construction's bid by $31,290 for a total of $3,485,910. However, in the county's ordinance 1-12-19 under B and C, it reads, and I'm just going to preface some of it, for any building improvement or public works project that will cost $5 million or less, the county commission may waive the requirement of a bid payment bond the performance bond based on a contractor's past performance on county projects or other projects, the quality of the working relationship with the contractor, the financial strength of the contractor, and any other relevant factor. So when I looked into this, I thought that my recommendation would be today is that the commissioners consider waiving the performance bond for Watts Construction at $31,253, but add the Tier 2 sub that I'm recommending. So the total amount would actually come to, if you waive the performance bond, allowed that other sub to come in, would be $3,454,657, which actually is only a difference of $37 from their original bid. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Devin also has looked this over just to make sure that, we did everything correctly by the book. And also Jason Whipple from EOC is here, and this will be a great building for him and his team. So he might want to add something as well.
And just a clarification, Commissioners, it would be a performance and payment bond that would be waived. And that's the recommendation.
I had one question. Is it going to be masonry or is it going to be metal?
CMU. So,
Very good.
So if we approve this, is the motion to waive the performance bond, or is this in the resolution to waive the performance bond?
Your motion, correct. Your motion would be to waive the performance and payment bonds and enact this resolution.
Okay. Then, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3403, approving a contract for the construction of the Emergency Operations and Legacy Park Storage Facility in the amount of which is a correction from the third whereas, in the amount of $3,454,657. And moving also that we waive the performance bond requirement for the winning bidder of Watts Construction.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, performance and payment bond. Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
thank you, Commissioners.
Look forward to that. Jason, you happy? Thumbs up. Okay. Our next item is number 10, consideration of a resolution number R 2024-3404, a resolution approving a contract with NFP Benefits for Pharmacy Benefit Management Coalition Services.
So Commissioners, there's actually two contracts here. One of them in the contract is with CVS. We went out to bid for our prescriptions. We took basically what our costs were for the previous year and said, if you had that, what would be our cost moving forward? And CVS came in with a $46,000 savings over our current Express Scripts. So we were really attracted to CVS. So this part of this is contracting with CVS, and the other part is using NFP as a bit of a go-between between us and CVS to make sure that they're watching for high-cost drugs and being able to work with the group to be able to minimize our costs through NFP with CVS. So kind of two contracts there.
So in the motion, do we need to make reference to CVS? Or is it good just to go ahead with them?
Good to go with the current resolution.
Okay. Well, thanks, Joel, for all your hard work on this. I know you work hard on providing the benefits and keeping the costs low and competitive. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-3404, a resolution approving a contract with NFP RX Solutions for Pharmacy Benefit Management Coalition Services.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes. Thank you. Item 11, consideration of resolution number R 2024-3405, a resolution of support for the SR-18 Fire Chiefs Association and Joint Training. Devin.
Thanks, Commissioners. So back in October, the Commission held a work meeting, and all of the fire chiefs and boards were invited to that meeting. But one of the things the Commission encouraged the fire chiefs to do was to resume fire chiefs meetings along the SR-18. This has historically happened, stopped for a while, but that has been historically the practice, is to have chiefs meet there to make sure that your fire suppression efforts and you're being coordinated and efficient in the response. And so the association has been meeting, and Chief Guthrie is here to talk about one of the things that they've been doing as an association. They've submitted a proposal that's before you, Commissioners, and so if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, you could turn the time to the chief.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So since that work meeting, we have met twice as a Chiefs Association, and we currently have all the chiefs along the SR-18 that are now participating in this Chiefs Association. And we've gone over a lot of the issues that we have of working together. One thing that we did come up with was this proposal that you have in front of you is for a program called Blue Card. It's an incident command training program that it's a nationwide program. It's very comprehensive. There's a lot that goes along with it. There's a lot of aids, and there's some software that allows different companies to work together and to go through different scenarios. So that's what the proposal is in front of you, the $31,000 for the Blue Card. This would be something that all 6 districts would participate. This includes tuition for, I think, 5 officers per district to attend this training, along with some of the training materials.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just chime in here. First of all, Chief, thank you for chairing the association. Thank you for getting everybody together to work together. This has been something, the EMS services and, really fire services is something that follows under the county. We guarantee in the unincorporated parts that this is provided. It's provided generally by volunteers through most of the area, yourself included. Thank you for that. I can tell you, not that you don't already know, but whenever somebody calls, because they're calling because something's going wrong, right? Either medically or fire-wise, they're not in a good position, and they don't care who's showing up. They want somebody to show up quickly, and they want somebody to help, right? And they're in a moment of crisis. So the fact that you and your volunteers and all of those in the various SSDs, the special service districts from Winchester to Diamond, Dameron, Veo, Gunlock, Brookside, Central, Pine Valley, Enterprise, unincorporated, the entire area there, those are all different special service districts, all doing things just a little bit differently. And I, Mr. Chairman, I think this is, having worked with the chief and other chiefs in the SSDs up there, I think this is a really good thing to do. The county should support getting them all on the same standard operating procedures. When they show up, they know they've worked with them, they know who's there, they know what training that they have, that they know what they're doing. There's a level of trust and cooperation there that I think better serves the residents and visitors of the area. It's a huge geographic area, not necessarily huge in population, but a bunch of disparate communities that are all pretty tight. They're tight with each other. They're loyal to their chief. They're loyal to the community, and this gets them all to work together. And so I wholeheartedly recommend that we and move that we approve Resolution R 2024-3405, approving this resolution of support for the SR-18 Fire Chiefs Association and joint training funding as detailed in the resolution.
Very good, and I'll second that. And Chief, thank you for your hard work up there on the
you so much.
SR-18 and doing this, bringing everybody together, so thank you.
Thank you.
Motion and a second. I have one question, Chief. Would you explain, and it's a sincere question, Blue Card seems to be incident command,
Yes.
and because you're going to be training 5, 6, according to the document,
Mhm.
in each training or in this scheduled training, does that mean that everyone becomes a general and there's no soldiers, so to speak? How does
No.
that work? Because that's
No,
been brought up to my attention.
So this will be focused on basically the officers within the organization. You know, as a volunteer, you really don't know who's going to be showing up. And so if we get enough people that know how to, when they get on scene, to establish command, to give a scene size up and start the process that it takes for mutual aid to come in, having more people to do that is very beneficial. And then we take that down to, you know, from the chiefs down to the Indians and train them on how to respond to this. But no, when you show up, that first person on scene is going to establish command, and that will be command. They may pass it on to somebody with more experience, but we need whoever's showing up first to know how to get the process started and then get this all going, because that's so crucial in the beginning. And that's really why we're going with so many on the front end. It's not that we're going to have, you know, 85 generals running around, but we do need to have that first person that shows up to be able to get the process started and get that command established and get the process like it should be.
So those firefighters 1 and 2 would benefit from Blue Card, obviously. But,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but it's not this is 5th year math trig, and they haven't taken algebra yet.
Well, yes and no. This probably will be for the Fire 1, Fire 2 individuals that will be doing it. And this is part of Fire 1, Fire 2 training to establish command. But this brings it all together on everybody's working the same way. And it goes into a little bit more depth on that. So no, we won't be sending someone that should be in first year algebra to you know, 4th year trig. But the individuals that will be trained will be those that are qualified to do that.
And then finally, is this an ongoing expense? Is there recertification?
For what we're asking from the county would be a one-time. The recertification and the things that go on behind that will be the responsibility of the individual districts going forward. This is something that we need to help get us jump-started and get this going.
Motion and a second. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Motion and a second on item number 11. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for what you're doing. This is a good thing.
Comes to the end of our agenda. These meetings are rebroadcast daily on TDS cable channels 22 and 108 at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. They're also available on demand at youtube.com/community education channel. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.